I'm Dr. Ashley, and this is From Her Point of View. This episode brings you part 3 of From Her Point of View, One Question, One Truth. In this episode, the group talks about some sensitive subjects many of us encounter from time to time. Remember, this is an organic, unscripted conversation with several different women. So while it doesn't present as a straight line, it all comes together at the end. You'll see. Listen. How do you not say something? It's the biggest challenge. How do you not say something? And we can take this several different ways.
Lord knows. Because I know when I get with
Is
my
it easier to
homegirls,
respond to if we give a topic? How do you not say something when you see? How do you
I feel
not
like you
say
gotta
something?
know the person, and if it's personal, where your friends or your family, I feel like you should be in a good space where you can say whatever. But if it's somebody you don't know, you need to be hesitant about approaching them to say whatever it might be.
And that could be biting your tongue too, kind of, right?
I have a motto, mind your own
Biting
business.
your tongue.
damn if I do, damn if I don't.
There you go.
I think for me, my issue is delivery. I think my delivery sometimes can come off quite harsh, right? It comes from a genuine place because I never say anything to someone because my intent is to hurt their feelings. It really does come from a genuine place, but I'm kind of blatant with it. Like, you know, let's say it's a hygiene thing. I'm just like, hey, you don't smell good.
That's a good one. How do you address
like
that?
Okay, so I have a story with that. So, my best friend, I don't know if it was a phase or if she was just going through things, you know, mentally or whatever. So it's just like the hygiene aspect of it. Like I was smelling it, but I didn't know how.
That's what
to
you
say
noticed. You noticed the hygiene was off because you smelled something.
You smell something, right? But then I hear my mom like, "Oh, you're just so rude. You're just so mean when you say things." So I'm just like, I don't want to hurt her feelings. Yeah, but I love her, but I don't want to hurt her feelings, and I don't know how to say it without saying like, "You stink." Right? And then you think that I'm coming from a place that's not genuine. Mm-hmm. But then someone else told her that was not her best friend. And then she came to me and was like,
why didn't you tell me?
Do I smell? And I'm like, yeah. That broke my heart and it broke hers too because it's just like, well, she's not my best friend.
Why didn't you say something?
You didn't. But if she knew internally the battle that I was conflicted with, because I'm just like, I don't want her to think that I'm coming from a nasty place, and I know that hygiene can be quite touchy.
Okay, but if I may jump in there, but was it like BO, meaning like she was sweating and working out and it was just that, or was it the down area?
Like,
you mean the female area, the female area.
It was kind of like a combination of everything, like that you just wasn't cleaning yourself in a way. So that was a life lesson because I'm just like, I will never do that to her again. And
You'll always be upfront.
I will always be upfront because I trust that you know that my heart is genuine and that as my best, yes, and that I love you, and so that you would not take it any way out of that context. That if I tell you something is coming from a place of love, because someone else who doesn't love you like I love you should not have given you that information.
You should have never got there.
Say it in a negative way
because they're gonna say it in a negative way, you know. So let it come from a person who you know genuinely care for you, and so that you know that it's real, then have it come in reverse. So that was definitely a life.
That's a great example, especially for that question.
And it's funny too that you say that because there's a lady that I used to work with that used to always ask me, "Do I stink? Do I smell?" Because she would always go in, and I'm like, "Why do you keep saying that?" Like to me,
it's hard.
No, because she wouldn't. And it would be like, why do you keep saying this? So I'm thinking to myself, somebody must have told her at one time or complained about her at one time for whatever issue she might have had at the time. But I kept telling her, I thought it was maybe some psychological thing from her past.
But it can be that, right? Because people, like, I always ask the question, like, you don't smell that? Like, something, you gotta know you stink. But that's how I thought. Like, I smell it, I know you
like
smell
somebody
it.
with bad breath,
But
halitosis.
you never think of that it could be medical conditions. You never think of the fact that it could be, and medical doesn't necessarily mean it could be
medicine,
but it could be mental, right? That it's a trauma that you are experiencing right now, where as though it is a trickle down effect from that. Like you don't think beyond it. Now some people is just, you know, this is a study that came out that feel like because there are bacteria now that eats, you know, that's good bacteria. Is a study that just came out recently, and then, you know, people are not taking baths because this bacteria that is supposed to be good bacteria. So, anyway,
I had that issue when I was working at a job doing front desk, and the girl that I was working with, I could smell her hoo-ha. Whether she walked by.
Her female
whether
area.
she walked by.
You don't know there's a female area.
And
her poom poom.
when she sat down. So, I was like.
The air came up.
What the
bacteria?
hell?
It might be bacterial vaginosis.
But no, it wasn't.
It's a very distinct smell.
It wasn't. And I'm going to tell you why it wasn't. Because when it went on for like a whole week. And I have a nose like a dog.
Yeah, me too.
I can smell everything.
Sensitive.
And
definitely her second.
She walked past, and I was like, you know what? We're going to lunch together. We can't do this. And you're getting in my car, and at the time my seats were leather, and it was summertime, and I was like,
"It's just gonna cook it."
And I don't know how to censor myself. I try to be calm and nice.
Because I would be like, what is going on?
But and that's what I asked her. I said, listen, honey.
Is there something going on?
I'm not sure if you know or not.
Honey.
Right. There's something going on.
But I can smell you, and I shouldn't be able to.
Right.
And she said, huh? I said, yeah, I can smell you, and I shouldn't be able to. And she was like, oh, okay. So, of course, we didn't do lunch that day. But then the next day when she came to work, she didn't smell at all. And I was like, so were you just not washing?
You, as the person that's carrying the scent, should definitely be
it.
able to smell it.
That's why I don't understand what people with.
But you never get to somebody else.
You know what? Somebody could be deaf to that.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I mean, I've known somebody like that too, and it's like you finally had that aha moment and say, "I'm sorry, but
something is going on."
Okay, so let's pause and go back to the original question that we had. What would you tell your younger self? I feel like I have a goddaughter, and I know young women, and as young women, I feel like there is certain things that as a young woman you should adopt moving forward as etiquette. Like if you go in the bathroom and you know you got a shit, take some spray with you. Don't be that girl.
Or do the courtesy flush.
This is what I'm saying. Or do the courtesy flush.
Doesn't work.
Or
people think that works. That don't work.
I'm not saying you gotta be perfect. You could be straight.
But this is my thing.
Right.
So this is where I'm conflicted with the public bathrooms because that's where you're supposed to go.
True.
So it's just like you're at a job for 8 hours. Like I don't know nobody. Excuse my language. Shit that smells good. I just don't.
Right.
Nobody.
You know. So then it's just like you feel bad if you're out in public and you fart, but then when you go in a place where it's designated for, you're still ridiculed.
And for me,
it's just like,
because
I have done it and flushed it, and guess what?
Well, I'll be honest, I can't even do it. My system completely shuts.
Be the oddball then, because we have
That's a good
where
thing.
it's a community bathroom, and then you have private bathrooms. Now I will knock on all the goddamn private bathrooms, but when that rare occasion comes, where all the private bathrooms, someone seems to be in it because they must have had the same bill I had.
And
I'm going to the community one. And guess what? I'm going to try to flush it a million times. And guess what? That funk is still there.
And it's there, but I just feel like
But you've toned it down quite a bit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say when you're on your period, and everybody knows that's just not a good time. But when you know, like for me, because it literally makes me sick to go in the bathroom and it stinks. Like I can't, I'm like
mucky.
Trying to go just to go pee. So as a woman, as a courtesy to the other women, I always carry spray with me when I go to the bathroom. I don't care if I'm just peeing. I don't want to go to the bathroom that stinks and I gotta pee because I can't pee. I'm like,
now,
I'm about to pass
and
out
this is
because I
the thing,
can't
right?
breathe.
Because then we sometimes mix cultural with like just common etiquette. That's a good way to put it. Because culturally, some people like that may not be
just have a stronger.
They have a strong, like using
Dove
or using Dow. They don't use that. So I don't think it's naturally to offend anyone else. But then you have to take into context that.
That again is a conversation that needs to be had because if women don't know better, we don't do better.
We don't do better.
So no one told me, hey, if you're going to the bathroom to go shit, take some spray with you, just whether it's you, her, or next girl.
But if I come from a culture, why should I? Because that is a natural function,
and that is
cool.
what
and it is
take it how it is.
You're making some really real points.
Right, society.
That's a natural function.
It is absolutely.
But it's one thing to have that natural function, but hygiene is a different thing.
Hygiene is a different. But then again, how do we distinguish whether or not it's cultural, and if it's just from the fact that you just basically don't want to wash up? Like, how do you distinguish that? How do you?
I don't really think it's a way that you can, because I have worked with some cultural people, and this is nasty, but during their time of the month, they don't wear pads. It's certain things that they don't do. Wait. It's a lot.
How do you do that?
It's a lot. And
if I could take
nasty.
The whole week off and stay home, I would. Okay,
right?
Or whatever, however many 4 or 5 days I stay home.
They don't
whole time,
and they don't tell you. Like, I don't take baths. I don't do this. I don't do that. And it's like,
why would you not want to?
It's like
it's nasty to you, but it's culture to them.
And
like that's the norm.
Their culture.
And it's like you have to find a way to accept it for what it is, because they can't change it, because it's not something that is deliberate. That is just who they are.
Now, some people are deliberate. Like, some people just are just straight as, like, you. I don't know. Maybe everybody don't do that. When I use the bathroom, whether it's doing the number 1, which is peeing, or doing the number 2, which is, feces, I look behind me.
Right.
At all costs.
Right.
So I look to see what's going on. One, because I need to
you
make sure I don't have to make an
evidence.
appointment if I see something in there that's not supposed to be in there. And 2, to make sure I didn't leave any evidence of what I just
Paper
did.
trail.
There you go. So some people, I'm just like, it's just a second.
Right.
It takes a second to look behiund and see that. So if you see that you
But some women just don't care.
Let me
Isn't
tell
that
you,
crazy?
when we were younger,
etiquette,
I
right?
have a younger cousin, and she has a huge booty. So when she would come on and go to the bathroom,
She leave the butt line in the back
and it would be the blood on the toilet
with a little line
and it
with the butt.
drove me crazy, because at the moment she was living with me. She was living with my family, and I was just like, this is disgusting.
It takes a second.
And it took everything in me not to punch her every time that she did it.
We ain't looking at this shit under a microscope.
But when I went to her and I asked her this question: why do you think that it's okay to leave your blood on the toilet? When you get up from the toilet, do you look behind you?
No.
And she said no.
Why not? Why would you not, though?
I said, but when you get up from somewhere and you walking out of a restaurant or you walking out of somewhere, don't you look behind you to make sure you grabbed all your stuff?
I think that I'm the one that just be like, people be like, oh, she's so action, like that's just her being nasty. But I'm just like, I start to look past that. Like, what is causing you to feel like that is okay? Like, I try to look beyond that person. Like, did your mom teach you that this is how it's supposed to be? Are you just lazy?
Right.
Like, that was hers.
Yeah.
Because she would wrap the pad up and don't wrap it in tissue. And I'm like, who raised you?
But you know what?
Especially when you come from the same.
I'm gonna hold you for a long,
You're like
long time.
her mom
I did not know
auntie
that
and stuff like
until
that?
I went to go throw it in the trash can, and I was like, oh, they
Not
wrap
really.
it up in
Okay,
toilet
that
paper.
makes a
Even in my
difference.
own
Same
household,
family.
if you go to my bathroom and it's that time, you don't know what's going on.
Right.
Because I don't
I'm
want
like
him to
so
be like,
undercover.
damn, you got wrappers and shit all over them. No, I wrap everything up.
Right.
And I'm very discreet, and I try to put it to the side. Even if he knows, like, okay, this is her time. He don't know.
Well, I've always been this way, and I don't know why. I think
like
it's
that
my
too.
mom. But when it's that time of the month, for me, I always have a lot of, like, grocery bags that's in the bathroom. I don't want anyone, if he has to
Wrap
empty
it
the
up,
trash,
throw it out.
I don't want him to have to empty it into the trash. So I put it in a garbage bag, and I'll stick it in the big trash, so he don't have to worry about emptying out
Or
our
out
trash
of
that's in the
courtesy of him
bathroom.
being the male species, not to come in there and have to experience that whole
Yeah,
thing of
because
he knows,
I don't know if
right?
you
I get
remember,
it.
but when my son was like 3 years old, he walked in the bathroom and it was that time of the month. He was like, he went around telling everyone
Yeah.
that I was bleeding and that mommy wear pamper.
Yeah, because he
like
didn't
the
know.
thing on Facebook. Did you see where the little boy went and got the pads?
Oh, yeah.
He was like, "Mom, don't you need some of these? Don't you need some of these? Are these for your butt? Don't you need these for your butt? Don't you need them for your butt? I know you need them for your butt." She's like, "Why I go put those back?"
We open another segment.
That was crazy.
No, I was going to say, so what if we do a different aspect and not the hygiene? What about if you see somebody that's in trouble?
Okay.
What do you say to that person?
Mm-hmm.
I will say that
There's a sit. You know.
because I am so prone on not wanting to offend people I don't know. But when it comes to my friend and everybody who knows me knows that I am blunt. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but understand that I love you enough to be honest about the situation, right? And I'm not doing it to hurt you. I'm doing it because I'm your friend and because I love you. But for somebody I don't know, I would be very hesitant if I don't know you to say, that's not right, you deserve better, you should try to get out of it. Like, because I don't know the full extent of your situation. And this may be 10 years in and this is what you're used to. I don't know. And you're just like, okay, yeah, my ass is beat, but tomorrow we're going to be good.
Right back together.
I don't know that. So I'm not going to waste my time giving you advice when your situation is one that is like, you know what? My ass is beat, but I'm going to go back tomorrow and we're going to be good. I feel like I'm wasting who I am as a person, so I'm not going into that with you.
Right.
So in turn...
with me, I think that I had to take a step back because I find with my close friends and family, they don't like my delivery because a lot of the times it's, you need to do this, you need to do that.
You're to the point.
I've been not being abused, but I've been
I was
in
just
bad
gonna
situations.
say, don't they take that into consideration?
And I try to say, take it from someone who has been there, but a lot of the times you can't. So with me, I had to, just like my same cousin, she was being abused by her child's father. Like he poisoned her. He damn near killed her. She was in a coma.
Yeah.
And I had to walk away from it because I felt I was saying too much and it was becoming a problem with me and her.
She was pulling back.
So she was starting to be, you don't even know what happened. I did this and I did that. And I was like, you know what?
That's a
I have to
manipulation.
mind my business because I have to live my life. And now...
But how would your conscience have felt had she passed and you've been telling her, you need to get out of this, or da-da-da-da-da?
I would have felt bad, but you know what?
But I'm not going to say nothing else
I had
about
to
it.
But you know,
I even
conscience
went
should've
as
been
far as to calling the police. She called me and I can hear her screaming and hollering in the background, and she was about 15 minutes from me. And I'm driving like a crazy person
Banshee.
to get to her. And when I got there, the police is there and they're taking him, and she's, why are you taking him? It was this. And I'm just like,
Are you serious?
What are we doing
and she's
right
like,
now?
I can't believe you did this to me. Like, she was upset with me, but you coming with bust a lip, a black eye, this man and banged you so hard in your ear that you're now deaf in your ear. Like, if this is what you want, be my guest. So when she call now, I just sit on the phone and be like, It's nothing else that I can say.
And that
it
piggybacks
hurt
up what
me
you were
because she
saying
has
about
kids.
the familiarity, like being
What you're familiar
falling
with,
into where you're right.
Yeah, and that might be something that she really needs to seek medical attention for.
She did.
Or you know what I'm saying? Because,
Psychological.
Yeah. But is that you were next? With that? Like,
Oh, it don't matter. No, but I've had that situation too. Like, you could sense, like, I know I'm an empath, so I pick up a lot of people's energies and stuff. So you figure, you know, they're like distraught or they're within themselves. So you're like, look, I don't know what's really going on with you or not, but if there's something going on, this might be your good opportunity to be able to communicate or talk. I don't want to like give you any advice. I try to be very delicate with how, but
I feel
just
like
wanna let
being
you know you're
delicate
not alone.
with a stranger is different than being delicate with your friends. I'm not holding any bars when it comes to people that I love, because I don't. If I love you, know that I'm coming for you. What are you doing, girl? You know you're not right. He ain't right. This ain't right. Like, I'm not, because my mom was abused and I saw it my entire life. And as an adult, I said I will never let a man put his hands on me, disrespect me, do any of that, because I saw her go through it. So when I see my friends going through it, and they be like, sis, this is what happened. Friend, listen to what I gotta say. You got 5 times with me. And everybody, and they don't notice, but they're gonna notice now. You got 5 times with me. After the 5th time, and you telling me the same shit you told me 5 times ago. Okay. Okay, because clearly you don't want to get out of it. And I have given you the best advice that I could give you as a person. Right. And if you decide that, you know what, I heard what she said, but I'm going to go back to this fool. I'm going to listen to you, but I cannot do it. I won't. It's wasted energy. So it's wasted time.
That begs the question.
I think between the point
about the talking thing.
A personal and an unpersonal friend.
And
yeah. As an unpersonal friend, I'm going to give you what I
can we receive it?
So I made the example. I don't know if y'all heard with my mom. She has she's addicted to smoking, and I was saying how nicotine is one of the most addictive chemicals that you can put into
tell you everything
body.
The government permits as legal is
it's
lethal.
It's the worst.
But yet
cigarettes and alcohol, the worst.
Right,
and they're legal.
But it's profitable, right? So you're not going to make sure you're not going to do that because that brings in a lot of money to the U.S. So you're not going to get rid of that. But I said my mom, she probably tried to quit about 15 times, and it's been times where I was like, you know what, forget it. I don't even want to get myself emotionally involved with that, because then I was like, well, my mother loved me and my siblings to the end of this earth and back, right? But that addiction was so strong that she couldn't even stop smoking when she was pregnant with me.
My mom had a whole stroke while I was here. And I bawled my eyes out. I had to have my dude at the time drive me back home because I thought she was going to die. And I went to the hospital, and she's probably going to hear this. She was in the parking lot with a nurse's aide smoking a cigarette. When I say I went all the way off.
And that's the reason she was there.
But then.
It was everything.
And
you almost died, and you're still smoking cigarettes on basically your deathbed. But I told her, you know what? I'm going back home. Goodbye. And at that moment, she ceased smoking. She said, I'm sorry. She said, it's really hard. She said, I've been smoking for the last 26 years. I said, I understand, but you almost died. And at that moment, she realized, you know what? I cannot do this anymore. And I mean, when I say she cut cold turkey.
Felt your emotions.
And I left. I left the hospital. I left her right where she was at. And when I talked to her, she was like, I'm not doing this no more. And that was it.
Say she didn't stop. What would your stance have been?
But see, the bad thing
I'm done with you.
The person has to make up in themselves that they want to quit, no matter what anybody's telling them.
She realized that smoking was taking her to a place where she was going to lose everything.
Let me tell you, I take a different stance with that, because my mom could have given up on me on so
your mom loves you though.
My mother loved me.
She loved you down.
Her mom was cool.
That is a love.
She's cool. Like her mom always gave me love.
That's just something that I don't want to believe is once in a lifetime, but I am blessed. Like my mom loves me, y'all. I'm sorry.
Right or wrong, she gonna go back for her daughter.
Let's toast.
You can't give up.
Loves me, y'all.
And you can't.
She loves me.
No, I do.
And so that's the reason why when you say somebody do something, or complete stranger, and you give up. If my mom gave up on me with some of the shit that I done did, let me tell y'all something. I don't know where I would be. So I say that to say,
you don't give up on her because she never gave up on you, and you know that eventually she will be delivered from whatever it is that's keeping her back from being the best person.
And even if whatever her addiction is much bigger than what her will is, she's still embedded in me that you do not give up, because.
But the thing is, you can't give up, but you can't lose yourself in her struggle.
In her struggle, that's true.
And that's what you're doing.
That's what I learned.
That's what you would do.
Because regardless if she keeps reneging on it, I never sit up there and say, "Oh, you're weak."
Right. No.
This is you can do better. It's killing you, because whether y'all realize it or not, people who go through their addiction is very much aware.
It's a whole other conversation.
It's a whole addiction.
It's
a whole other.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing to that.
They know what they're doing to their family, but it's just they can't give it up.
The blue or the orange?
They can't give it up.
They cannot give it up.
I've been doing this since I was 13 years old, and I have what I am. I can't stop because it feels
and
good
you have
to
to
me.
look at it in a different way. It's not that they don't love you.
They don't love you.
It's not.
And I had to look beyond that. You know what I'm saying?
It is a dependency. It is a chemical tie.
It is a
your body cannot function without it. They cannot function properly to be there for you without it.
Just like how your body needs water, they put chemicals in you. Your body responds to it just as much as your body responds to needing water. You can survive without eating for days, but you cannot survive without water as long as you can without nourishment. You know what I'm saying? So I try to take that stance and looking at life. And does that cause me to come into the problems that I come into with people, with relationships?
It does.
Yes, because I try to see that beyond your hurt, there is some person in your core that you decided to lock up in this box to allow this person to manifest in you to what you are now. But deep inside, that is that person that loved, that cared, that wanted to be wanted, that wanted to be loved, that wanted to feel like they had a place in the world. But because of the fact that you have more of viruses than you do of cures, right? That you go to that. You go to just like, let me be a part of what's caused this world to be what it is. Like this plague of just bad, I don't want to say bad people, but bad thinking people. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just, I don't know. I'm just rambling on, but
no, you're not rambling.
Yeah, but and that's what I'm learning, because it's just like life is trying to change me into this person that I don't want to be. I don't want to lock what is. I don't want to lock my foundation away to build on unstable foundation. My foundation is love. My foundation is care. My foundation is that people hurt people, but beneath that surface, that is a human being that has just learned to have been taught to protect themselves against life forces that's not so great.
That's true. You have to be yourself, and you have to know that you within yourself, you're your own worst enemy.
Yeah, that's
and that no matter what you try to do for anybody else, make sure you do for yourself first. Because you have to be your friend before you try to be somebody else's friend.
You can't take care of anybody else. Exactly. You cannot pour into anybody else's glass if you're empty.
You can. That's true. You cannot. And you can't lose yourself in that struggle. Yes, you know, you're my mom, you're my sister, you're my brother, you're my best friend. I love you. But I can't lose myself in your struggle. I can do what I can do to help you. I can try to lift you up. Even though you're not hearing me, I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep at it. But I'm not going to be a lost person because of it. Because if you do that, then they win. And you don't want nobody to win but yourself. That's true. First.
Well, that wraps up the discussion of From Her Point of View, One Question, One Truth. I'm sure some of you were able to relate to what you've heard over the past few weeks. I want to thank the discussion participants for being so candid and trusting us to share their stories, and I want to thank our listeners for returning each week to hear more. Until next time.
You've been listening to From Her Point of View. From Her Point of View is a podcast covering a wide range of topics. The content is specifically curated for women, by women. To give feedback or for questions, please reach out to us at 443-507-8032. Also email fromherpointofview.llc@gmail.com. Please visit the podcast website fromherpointofview.podbean.com. Also the Facebook page From Her Point of View. Tune in weekly to hear it from her point of view.